So, beloved ones, as I was up here meditating, Spirit said, you didn't go on that side, and there's somebody on that side of the sanctuary. You don't have to raise your hand. But there's somebody who said, well, you didn't come over here. You never come over here. So I want y'all to greet each other by saying, you are a radiating center of love and light. And I'm going to go greet you. Center of love and light. Was it you, darling? It wasn't you. It was her. Okay. All right. You are radiating center. Hey, darling, good to see you. Hi, darling. Hi, darling. Good to see you. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Hi, darling. I heard you sing like that. Blessings to you. Yeah, I found out who it was. Blessings. God bless you. 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 All right. Now, you all in the balcony, y'all gonna have to go for yourself. But I do love you all in the upper room too, because I see you. Yes. You can feel good because you all have a high consciousness. So let's acknowledge those in the balcony. Yes. Wonderful. You know, you have to be obedient. Spirit said, yeah, there's somebody over there who's saying, she didn't come over here. Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful. How you all doing? I'm filled with love and light and joy. You know, sometimes you have to create your joy. You have to allow it to just, express and move in you. Been in some places, ups and downs, and sometimes you have to just make the decision today, in this moment, I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to celebrate this life I have. So, yeah. I'm going to be a force for good. So, as I have been working for these last few days and weeks and months, I've been a little concerned over the state of our world, our planet, over the state and the events that are occurring within our own country and society. I've been looking at and working with the challenging condition of our condition. Trying to figure out what condition our condition is in. And I'm speaking of the human condition. But just looking at what is happening on the planet. And I know that we are in a time of great transformation. You all know that, right? It's a time of a global and evolutionary shift is happening. And even though these times that we are experiencing have been written about, talked about, forecasted, predicted, for many years prior to even today, there are societies who talked about the times we're living in and what is happening on the planet. And so even though we know that this was coming, even though we know that it is a part of a great divine plan for good, ultimate good, it can still be somewhat unsettling to actually be in the midst of it all, right? We can't help but be affected every time you turn on the news. Someone is being shot. There's something that's happening that sort of just unsettles the spirit. And like it or not, we are here. Each soul, I believe, has chosen to be here at this appointed time for such a time as this, right? And we might not be it may not be in your conscious mind, but I think as truth students, you signed up for this. We signed up to have a great impact upon our world, to be a force for good in the world. Now, like most of you, I feel like I want to do something. Anybody feel like I want to do something? I want to do something, right? I feel as if something is being called forth from the inner parts of our being. that something wants to give birth, something wants to be expressed by me and by each of you. You hear me say time and time again that we are light bearers, correct? Yes, that we are light bearers. And I know that when I say that sometimes that does not feel like it's enough just to be a light bearer, that somehow more is needed. And yet, as metaphysicians, we know that bringing light to any situation is always a good thing, is it not? Bringing light, positive energy to a situation is always a good thing. So perhaps what is needed is more focus on some ways to actually bring the light, or some actual ways of fostering a shift in consciousness so that that shift can be a demonstrated experience for those on the planet. Maybe we need something like that. So the question might be, how can we be light bearers? I tell you that you are one, but maybe we need to focus on how we can be light bearers, shape shifters, transformation magnets. And so I started looking up some quotes with this focus in mind, some quotes by spiritual teachers and writers, and a number of people came to mind, but I started with Mother Teresa because I loved Mother Teresa's love for humanity in the deepest way. See, hers was not just talking about her love for humanity. She got down in the trenches and worked with those who were lying in the streets with leprosy and all manner of diseases upon their bodies, and she would clean them and feed them and hold them and nurse them. That's a love that, that's a deep love, okay? So I'm always inspired by her, so I was looking up some quotes from her, and I'll share a few a little later. But then I remembered this book, and it was a book titled Power versus Force. I don't know if any of you read that book. It's by David Hawkins. Now, I didn't read the book. I've never read the book, but I know I've heard many comments about it. I've had dialogues about the content and the theme of the book, Power versus Force. And I was intrigued by the title because at first glance, one might think that they're one and the same. However, I see a slight difference, although one may lead to the other, power versus force. One may lead to the other. People who have a lot of power may try to use force to get their way. Ever experienced that? Yes, Yet the converse is also true. Because if you have a lot of force behind you, you can exert your power. So that's one way to look at it in terms of its physical sense, force, power versus force. But I want to look at this from a spiritual perspective for a moment. Because when we think of power spiritually, it refers to an inner dynamic or source, an inner source that enables us to bring something to bear. That power spiritually is a source that enables us to bring something to bear. It is the creative energy that is backed by the substance of God or the divine. It's what lies beneath everything. And it comes from within. We may think we try to get power out here. You cannot. So its power is something that comes from within, whereas force may carry the connotation that it is derived from some outside agent, some outside source, an outside force that is impacting or coming up against something else, and it moves it. Because usually when there's force, there's some type of movement happening. So I see power as the source, and force as that which moves the power, moves it into a certain direction. For example, in layman's terms, let's say electricity, we'll make that synonymous with power. That electricity is the source, right? It's a source of power. But it's a lamp or a bulb or an electric cord that we would have to call the force, right? Because it's not the source. The bulb is not the source of the power or the source of electricity, right? But it is that thing which directs that power, which enables that power to be used. Correct? And so you might have electricity as the source, but you might have it also, the force of it being a television, or the force of it being the movement of a refrigerator, or it might be, a car, because a car has some kind of source. So it could be even us. So it's very important for us to understand that there's the source for power, and then there's the force, the energy, that which enables the power to be shaped and used and for whatever purpose. There's an old New Thought affirmation that says this. It says, I am a force for good in the world. And some teachers say, I am a positive force for good in the world, because you can be a negative force too. Right? I'm a positive force for good in the world, meaning that whatever I think, whatever I do, whatever I say, whatever I express is used for good, right? God is the source and the power of good, but I am the channel through which that good flows. And it's important for us to understand that we serve a mighty purpose, and that our lives serve a purpose. We are the hands and the feet and the energy of God in motion and in movement, right? We bring that vibration of the source into manifestation. We're the vehicles that allow it to happen. So I am a force, a positive force, that moves the goodness of God, the power of God, into manifestation. And I say all this because I think it's important for us to really know that we can have and make an impact upon the world. Sometimes we get caught up in thinking, who am I? I'm just a little lowly person here. I cannot change the world. I cannot change the way things are showing up in the world. Oh, but you can. In fact, that is why we are here. To evolve and to help shape the direction of evolution. Because what we are doing is we are shaping evolution right now. By everything we do, say, create, be, are, and express. We're having an impact. And what I say, we're here to have a positive impact upon humanity. And not just with our action, but through our consciousness, through our very lives, through our beingness. For to impact one person is to impact the world. It truly is. It's the butterfly effect. You all know of the butterfly effect, right? What science has proven. They said when a butterfly, a single butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon, it affects everything that takes place here. That we are impacted by that butterfly flapping its wings. Now, this is some deep stuff, because what it says is that everything impacts everything else. Everything impacts everything else. So in essence, everything that we do matters greatly. It matters greatly because it is changing the world. Now, whether it's changing it in a positive way or a negative way depends upon what we are doing, saying, thinking, creating, sharing, expressing. That will determine whether we are changing the world in a positive or negative way, but we are changing it. Make no mistake about that. So while I was doing some research on these quotes, I decided that I was looking up David Hawkins in his book, Power versus Force, and I came across another book that he had some great quotes on, powerful quotes for what he calls spiritual growth. And I thought that some of these actually speak to where we might want to be or where we need to be. Now, the book that some of these quotes come from is called Along the Path to Enlightenment. 365 daily reflections along the path of enlightenment. So he's talking about what is going to get us to the place of spiritual enlightenment. And Lord knows, as I have said many, many times, that what is needed for humanity is to awaken spiritually. That has to happen. And for humanity to move towards enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment, because what we are doing to each other and what we are doing to the planet belongs to the dark ages. It is base, and we are called to be higher and greater than that. So, let's look at some of these quotes. This is one, the first one that I chose. It says, "To become more conscious is the greatest gift anyone can give to the world. Moreover, in a ripple effect, the gift comes back to its source." So let me read that one again. He says, to become more conscious is the greatest gift that anyone can give to the world. Moreover, in a ripple effect, the gift comes back to its source. Now, I love that because if you really want to do something for the world, you can start by becoming more conscious. You want to be a light bearer? Here's first thing, you need to be more conscious. Conscious of your thoughts, conscious of your words, conscious of your actions. You got to begin to live a conscious life, meaning that's bringing more light into your consciousness, thinking high thoughts, practicing some spiritual discipline. I don't care what it is. If you don't want to meditate, fine, but read a spiritual book every day, something. Practice, have a spiritual discipline that you engage in. Or perhaps you can also begin to examine your experiences. The unexamined life is not worth living, someone had said. So examine your experiences and then take responsibility for them. This is what being a conscious person is about. You see, it's not seeking how can I place blame for my experience on someone else. When you're conscious, you must recognize that what is taking place is your process, not somebody else's problem. Turn to someone and say, it's my process. It's my process, not someone else's problem. So we're not here, to lay blame to anyone or upon anyone. So the gift that we can give the world first is by being conscious of everything in our lives. The second quote I taught, he says this in the second quote that I chose. He says, out of all inclusive, unconditional compassion comes the healing of all mankind. Out of all inclusive, unconditional compassion comes the healing of all mankind. You see, it's rare that we really think all-inclusive. It's very rare that we do that, right? Because for the most part, we've been conditioned to see the other. It's sort of an us and them, a we and them, myself and somebody else, myself and my boss, myself and my mate, and it's me. And so we see this sense of separation. We focus on difference and what makes us separate as opposed to oneness and what makes us the same. We are one species upon the planet. I love it when the astronauts say they have a profound spiritual experience when they go into outer space because all they can see is one planet. That's what they see. They don't see states and people and, red states and blue states and green states and purple people and all. They see oneness, 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 oneness. So it's really important for us to recognize how can we see this sense of oneness. That means we've got to take responsibility for all of our lives and endeavor to make sure that we're always coming from a high place within us and that we are always working for the highest good of all concerned. That's the thing. We've been conditioned to work for the highest good of me. What is my highest good? But as a light bearer and a spiritual master, you must begin to work for the highest good of all concerned, because everything impacts everything else, right? So as a light bearer, we understand that now. So the question I was asking myself was, what if anything good that is done for one had to be done for all inclusive? So whatever good is done for one must be done for all. I think if we had that kind of mindset, the world would be transformed in a heartbeat. We've got to shift the consciousness to the collective. You know, we're used to, it made me think of Star Wars, you know, and remember the Borgs, and they were talking, the Borgs used to belong to the collective. We've got to be the collective, but spiritual Borgs. That what happens to one happens to us all. What occurs with my brother occurs with everyone else. And when that collective consciousness begins to take root upon the planet, then we make changes. Then transformation begins to happen. So as a light bearer, you're now shifting to the collective consciousness and impacting that. All right? Now, the third quote he says, every act or decision we make that supports life supports all life, including our own. The ripples we create return to us. I'm going to say that again. Every act or decision we make that supports life supports all life. We've just established that, including our own. But then he says, the ripples we create return to us, because what I do causes a ripple so that everybody begins to impact. But it ripples to the degree that it returns to the source. It returns to us. And this is such a powerful thought process, because what if every decision that those are made by the powers that be, if they made a decision to support all life and had this understanding that the decision to support life, all life, creates a ripple effect so that the blessings that are put out there will begin to return to them? If they had an understanding that the good they do returns to them, that the blessings they offer for the good of the whole returns to them, they would make greater and better choices to support what? The whole, right? It wouldn't be about, oh, I got to get mine. Because you'd understand you're going to get yours naturally. And so will everybody else. Because that's the nature of how life works. So we want to move into this concept of the ripple effect. This fourth one, he says, is a good one, I think. It says, one basic principle has the power to resolve the problems of the social marketplace. Support the solution instead of attacking the supposed causes. So one basic principle has the power to resolve the problems of the social marketplace. Support the solution instead of attacking the causes. Now, I love this one. This one right here is really key, because everybody or every side is attacking the causes, right? You're the cause. You might have the blue states are saying the red states are the cause for the country, and the state of the country, and the red states are saying it's the blue. Everybody's saying that this is the cause. White people are saying black people are the cause. Black people are saying white people are the cause, and everybody in between says everybody's the cause. Native Americans say you're all at wrong, you're all at fault. Everybody is seeking blame, right? Assessing the right and the wrong. Who's right? Who's wrong? Whose belief? Whose theory? Whose opinion? Whose approach is the best one, right or wrong? And you see, when we have that approach, nobody wins. It leads to automatic war and dissension and fighting for power, fighting for who's right. But what would happen if the approach was to focus on solutions only? Solutions only. Even Albert Einstein said that the problem can never be created on the same level or consciousness which created it in the first place. right? So as long as we are attacking causes and looking for that cause of what's the problem, and in that energy of attack and defend, we will never win. There must be another approach. You can't solve problems, the world's problems or any other problems, from the level that is synonymous with the same consciousness that created it. Fear, lack, limitation, lack of understanding, greed, whatever it is. You can't solve the world's problems if that's what created it, right? So we've got to look for solutions. We've got to train ourselves to look for the solutions in our lives and not just causes. So what is it that's going on in your life right now? Because if I were to ask everybody here to tell me your problems, you could tell me everything that is the cause of your problems, right, in total detail. You know who's the cause of your problems. You know why you didn't get that promotion. You know who's at fault. You know who's wrong. You know everything about what is causing the problems in your life. You do. The only challenge is that doesn't solve anything for you. You know, it just gets you stuck in the story. And we are good at telling the story about what's going on, why we have problems, and the nature of them, and the source of them, and the quality of them. But that does nothing for us in terms of bringing us closer to solutions in the problems. So I say, focus on solutions, and the causes will take care of themselves. See, we have been trained to think, oh, there is a cause, and from this cause, I'm going to try to find a solution. It will not work. Find the solution, and the cause will begin to dissipate. It'll reveal itself. If there's poverty, I don't have to try to figure out what's causing the poverty. If I focus on the solution of feeding people, then the cause is going to take care of itself, right? And this is a spiritual and metaphysical thing we have to understand. Focus on solution, and the problems, the causes will take care of themselves. They will dissipate. But if you focus on the causes, you might not ever get to the solution. So we have to understand what is ours to do, because this is a higher way of approaching life. This is a higher way of focusing on solutions that is going to cause us to raise our consciousness to see something different. You can't see from the same level. So it's going to cause us to see a higher way and to express something better. Mother Teresa said this. She said, if we want a love message to be heard, it has got to be sent out. To keep a lamp burning, we have to keep putting oil in it. So how are you bringing light to your life, to your problems, your challenges? How are you putting the healing oil of love into your life and into your affairs? She said, if you want the love message to be put out, you got to put it out. But when you put it out, you have to keep putting it out there, because oil, you need to put some oil in the lamp for it to continue to burn. So the question is that are we putting this healing oil of love into our lives and affairs? If something goes wrong, are you seeking a higher solution, or are you focused on being right, winning the point, coming out on top? Because that kind of energy never heals. It never heals. And as a light bearer, you must always make the choice to love. This is a hard one sometimes. But as a light bearer, you must always make the choice to love. You make the choice to bring light and love to every situation you find yourself in. Now, granted, sometimes we fall asleep, and what we bring is not love nor light. Well, we do. But when you have that realization, when you wake up, you must then choose what? Love. Choose to bring light to that situation, because light and love always win. Love always wins. It always heals, because it is the highest and strongest vibration spiritually in the universe. It is a vibration that can actually transform a base element into gold. It can take the base vibrations we've been experiencing in expression and turn it into spiritual gold. We are here to bring light and love. Albert Casing said this. He says, when you find yourself in the position to help someone, be happy and feel blessed because God is answering that person's prayer through you. Remember, our purpose on earth is not to get lost in the dark, but to be a light to others so that they may find a way through us. We're light bearers. And it's easy to get lost in the dark. It's easy to get lost in whatever negative energy is out there, and there's some negative energy on the planet. And if we choose to focus on that, we can get lost in that energy. It'll suck you in like a black hole. So we have to, not jump on that bandwagon, because if you do, then you're going to find yourself depleted, drained, and of no good use to anybody. You'll sink deep into the rabbit hole of despair and dismay and feelings of gloom and doom. And oh yes, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. We could look at that and we could justify that and say that, could we not? We certainly could. But if you do that, your light is not shining. So we don't curse the darkness, we become light. We become light. We offer a higher solution, a higher way. We say that we're going to be a force for good in the world and to make a positive difference to someone or to something. This is your practice. Every day, endeavor to become a positive force for good and to make a difference to someone's life or in someone's life, even if all you do is smile as you walk down the street. That vibration, that smile will shift and change that person's experience in that moment. And if you really want to freak people out when you're driving, just start waving to everybody as you pass them. They'll be like, do I know them? What? Bless them, just wave. Put forth light. It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. And in closing, I want to share what Brother Ishmael Tete said. He said, you are here to evolve and to be a positive difference. Life doesn't care about your pains and pleasures. It only cares about how you evolved through them and the impact you have brought to life through them. So, beloved ones, I say, if you can let your life impact the life of just one soul positively, you will have changed the world and yourself. So, let's be fearless in shining our light. Let's be fearless so that the world heals quickly. Shine on and be blessed. Namaste. Blessings. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Namaste.